North Aurora Village Board meeting for Monday, September 16th, 2024 to order. Please join me in a silent prayer and meditation. Great, thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gaffino.
Here.
Trustee Christensen.
Here.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Lowry.
Here.
Trustee Nedved.
Here.
Trustee Salazar. Here.
All right, thank you. I'd like to open the public hearing concerning the intent of the village to issue not to exceed $17 million of general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source for the purpose of constructing and equipping a new public works facility and for the village. Anyone here to speak regarding that? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Audience comments this time? No? Okay. Consent agenda?
Second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes.
Trustee Salazar. Yes. Trustee Christensen.
Yes. All right, thank you. Under new business, item 1, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the approval of the contract for the crack sealing bid. The purpose of crack sealing program is to prevent water from infiltrating the base and subbase of the pavement. It can weaken the overall structure of the pavement. The project plans, specifications, letting was prepared and conducted by village staff. The staff will provide the construction management service for this project. The low bidder was Patriot Pavement Maintenance in the amount of $79,000. Motor fuel tax funds are being used for this project, which requires IDOT rules and procedures for the award of this contract. $90,000 was budgeted. Staff has worked with Patriot Maintenance in the past, and they have done satisfactory for us. So staff is recommending awarding the contract to Patriot Pavement Maintenance in the amount of $79,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Salazar.
Yes.
Trustee Christensen.
Yes.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes. All right, thank you. Item 2, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor. This is approval for an RFP for tree trimming. So far this year, Public Works staff has trimmed nearly 170 trees and are working on a list of 87 requests from citizens. Also annually, the village trims trees that are located on the road maintenance program. This year, we have contracted out tree trimming in the Oak Hill subdivisions and Windstone. We have $90,000 budgeted for contract tree service this year. After receiving favorable numbers back from the road programming trimming, we identified several areas that we will be in the next following years for the road maintenance program. The staff is currently working on a long-term parkway tree trimming program. It's going to range from 5 to 8 years. Once that program is finalized, we will bring that back to you guys for an update. Staff put together an RFP for trimming. The proposal base is Lake Run, Remington Landings, and part of Tanner Trails. The alternate also included the rest of Tanner Trails and Mirador. We had 10 companies pick up the RFP. We received 5 bids back. The low bid was from the Davy Tree Expert Company. So staff is recommending awarding the contract to the Davy Tree Expert Company in the amount of $36,596.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Christensen.
Yes.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes.
Trustee Salazar.
Yes.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Yes. All right, thank you. Item 3, Brian.
This is the awarding of the construction management contract with Frederick Corporation for the building of our new facility. At the August 19th board meeting, the village board approved to enter the construction contract with FQC to keep the project moving forward and preventing possible delays before the GMP was determined. At this time, the village has provided the amended contract with the GMP. The GMP is calculated by using the following fee structure. there's 10 ranges in here. It all includes the base bid from all the contracts, general requirements, construction management fees, bid bonds, contingency fees, insurance, pre-construction services, scheduling and sequencing allowance, extended general conditions, and just general conditions. So the guaranteed maximum price comes to a total of $18,996,022. During that, the elevator bid, during the time of the approval for the bids, in the 19th meeting, FQC did not award the bid for the elevator. However, that price is in the GMP. Additional funds are also budgeted for the purchase of furnishing and IT equipment that is not included in the GMP. These purchases will be brought back to the board for future approval and are also in the budget. So staff is recommending awarding the amended contract to FQC in the amount of $18,996,022.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll, please.
Trustee Gately.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes.
Trustee Salazar.
yes,
Trustee Christensen.
Yes.
Trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 4, Jason.
Mayor, this item is, excuse me, the first budget amendment for fiscal year 24-25. This budget amendment actually puts the costs related to the Public Works facility onto the village's budget since it wasn't in there based on just timing and not knowing when the project was going to start. With this amendment, we actually creating 2 new funds, the Public Works Facility Capital Projects Fund and the Public Works Facility Debt Service Fund, to kind of keep those costs isolated and on their own outside of the regular capital projects fund. So we have established the construction costs and then the associated revenues. So the bond proceeds of $14 million we're anticipating, and then $4.4 million transfer from the capital projects fund to make up the other funding of the building. We did put the full cost of the building on there, but knowing that it's not going to be done this current fiscal year, so whatever's not spent this year will just carry over to the next year when we finish the budget or the building.
Motion approved.
Second. Discussion. Roll, please.
Trustee Gately.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes.
Trustee Salazar.
yes,
Trustee Christensen.
Yes.
Trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 5, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 5 is an update to our village code regarding restricted parking areas. Last year, you might recall in 2023, there was a large inventory that we did. Basically, for the last 20 or 30 years, we've had some signs put up around town that weren't codified properly. So anytime you put up a no parking sign, you want to have it codified so it's enforceable. What we did was we did a comprehensive study where we went street by street and looked for all no parking areas, went into our village code, updated the code, and then we had it adopted at the village board, so it was all up to date. At that time, the schools, specifically the elementary schools, Schneider, Goodwin, and Fern, were left out because in the code, they actually have their own section of the no parking code. The reason for that is from time to time, principals or the school district might ask for drop off and pickup times to be changed or signage to be changed depending on their operations. So in February of 2024, we actually got reached out to by the Fern Elementary principal who requested on Hartsburg to have no stopping, standing, or parking signs on school days on Hartsburg Lane. The code actually reads that it's supposed to be no parking from certain times. So the signs were changed. It doesn't match the code. We had a resident bring that up and said, hey, you know what? This doesn't match the code and you know, it's not enforceable. So we said, okay, we'll take a look at it. So we did. We went out there and then specifically with Fern, we actually met with the school district on site and the police department. We walked up and down the streets, looked at all the signage, made sure that we understood where the signage was, and then asked them about their drop off and pickup times, make sure that we understand their operations. Based on that information, the staff is bringing back some code changes tonight to update our code to match the signage that is there. We're actually looking to add a few signs too. In addition, we went to Goodwin and Schneider as well, walked the streets, inventoried everything that was out there. And I don't know why this isn't working, but I had a map to show you. Okay. All right. I tested this 3 times before we started. Basically what we did is as far as the area along Hartsburg and Hawksley, which is right in front of Fern, there's an existing sign on the east side of Hawksley, right in front of Fern Elementary. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Nathan. So if you see here, the yellow dots indicate where signs currently are, and the red includes areas in the code where it will now be no parking. So existing already on Hartsburg, this red area, this is where the signs say no parking, no standing, no stopping on school days. It's going to be changed to no parking, no standing, no stopping on school days from 7:30 to 8:30, from 1:30 to 2:30. This way people can park there during the day, just not during those times. Also, there's one sign down here that says no parking from 7 to 3 on school days, but it's just by itself in the middle of a street. So it's hard to designate where exactly that sign is telling people not to park. So we looked at it and we decided we were going to put up signs in this whole red area on the east side that just says no parking on school days. Once again, 7:30 to 8:30, 1:30 to 2:30 to alleviate that. And then this sign here down by their driveway access, that is a no parking school drop-off zone. We're simply going to take that sign. We're going to put up another sign here and basically make it no parking between this sign and the sign we put down here. And once again, that'll be on school days during certain hours. And really that's to alleviate the stress of the buses that come down Hartsburg and use the parking lot access here. I do have members of the school district here tonight in case you wanted to ask some specific questions. But just to show you how complicated this was, this is the Goodwin Elementary area, and all those yellow dots are the signs that extend outward in that whole neighborhood. And each one, some of them might say no parking on school days, some might say 7 to 3, some might say 1 to 2. So what we wanted to do is make sure they were uniform. So the police department and our staff went out and verified all the signs. We're going to make sure that Brian and his crew go out there and make sure that every description in the ordinance matches every sign that's placed. And then the other one is Schneider, which has less. But with that, there's an attached ordinance. This is mainly a cleanup. Or other thing I want to add is their table last year, when it turns out that when the staff copy and pasted the table into the code last year, we inadvertently missed a part of the table. It got omitted in the ordinance. So it is attached in the ordinance to be put back in. And the irony of it is 2 of the streets on that list are this. Anyone who lives in this area knows there's no parking from April 1st to August 1st on this side of Hawksley because of baseball at the park. And that wasn't in the code, so we're putting that in the code. And there's no parking on White Oak in these areas. And that was omitted as well. So we put that back in. Any questions? I'd be happy to help.
No, looks good. Second.
Discussion. Please.
Trustee Mariavich?
Yes.
Trustee Salazar? Yes. Trustee Christensen?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis? Trustee Gately? Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That concludes new business under village president report. Food truck last Friday night was successful, and thank all who were involved with that. It was a nice event. Trustee comments? Administrator report?
Just a couple of very quick things. One, you saw tree trimming. That is a very good price. So that is a lot of trees that we're going to trim. Brian and Brandon and I were trying to bring a tree policy back with our road program discussion in October, where we'll also talk about a road policy, just kind of immortalizing some of the things we do already and asking the board to verify if you have any thoughts or changes to the programs. Did want to mention that we did the bond rating call last week. Jason led that phone call with Standard & Poor's. So we're just, before we go out and ask for the general obligation money that we'll be getting paid back with the sales tax, we have to do a bond rating call. So I think the call went positive. The village is in a good financial position, so we're expecting that to come back, hopefully with at least the same rating we have, if not better. And then the last thing is, it did bring it up. We don't get usually a group of residents, but we did get a few people from Lincoln Valley who was asking about their pond. So we had about 6 or 7 people last week claim that their pond was lower than it should be. So I give credit to Brian, Nathan, Brandon. We all went out, looked at the pond, and they're looking at it. Right now, it could just be the drought levels, but we don't know why it's holding as little water than we thought it would. But it's functioning. It's stormwater wise, it's fine in the sense that nothing's flooding. It's the opposite. It's actually holding less water than anticipated. So our crew is still looking into it, but we told the HOA that they're in charge of that pond. So if they have aesthetic issues with it or whatnot, they can hire an engineer to look into it further or ask us any questions. I just wanted to bring it up.
All right, thank you. Department report.
Thank you, Mayor. This Saturday is our community picnic / open house. From 1 to 4, we'll have food, fun, touch a truck, and just meet and greet the police officers like we do every year.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We'll be starting the committee of the whole shortly, so. Stick around.